While everyone's talking about JD Vance having his head caressed by Erica Kirk, this is something that's not getting nearly enough attention, and we need to talk about it because this affects all of us. And this is probably exactly what they're trying to distract us from. So, another press conference, another threat wrapped up in the language of freedom. And the problem is way bigger than Florida. We're talking about a test case for how to turn public schools into state-controlled political training grounds and the future of indoctrinating kids. So imagine a governor standing at a podium threatening educators with legal action for not promoting a specific for-profit political organization. This is what's happening in Florida right now. Ron DeSantis claims he's fighting discrimination against conservative students. But what he actually did was announce a government partnership with a right-wing political organization and then threaten every school district in the state if they don't comply. If this works in Florida, it's coming to your state next. Today, we're breaking down how Ron DeSantis just weaponized Florida's education system one school at a time, when the same government institutions are dismantling the Department of Public Education. And we're going to talk about why this announcement represents one of the most brazen examples of government overreach in modern American education. Buckle up, because what he's demanding from public schools across every county line between education and political indoctrination, it's wild. So Ron DeSantis stood at the new College of Florida, the liberal arts school he already gutted and turned into a conservative project. And he announced that his government is now in partnership with none other than Turning Point USA, which means a state government is partnering with an explicitly partisan billionaire-backed political organization. And he didn't stop there. DeSantis said he wants a Turning Point USA chapter in every single Florida high school. And any school district that tries to block one will receive a nastygram from his school's commissioner, who will drop the hammer. Let that sink in. The governor of Florida, not worried about climate change, instead threatening public schools with government retaliation if they don't promote a private conservative activist group. And even if you don't live anywhere near Florida or have kids in schools, this isn't about one club or one state. They are setting a precedent. Once government can force schools to promote specific political organizations, what stops them from forcing libraries to stock only Turning Point USA approved books? What stops them from forcing museums to tell only Turning Point USA approved history? The principle being established here applies everywhere. And if stories like this matter to you, if you want to stay informed about what's really happening in our schools and in our democracy, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is exactly the kind of story that doesn't get enough attention. And I need your help in making sure people see it. So Florida Education Commissioner Anastasi Komatosas, his nickname is Stasi. Yes, that's his name, double down with some language typically reversed. Anyway, he said, and I quote, "If you serve as an obstacle, if you are a hurdle, if you get in the way of any student or teacher trying to start a Turning Point USA chapter in Florida, you will be met with full force of the law." That's threatening. I went to private college in Florida, and these are generations later these are my peers' children. And this is not guidance. This is a threat backed by state legal authority to force schools to platform a very specific, very radical conservative group. Then Florida Attorney General James Othenmeyer posted a video threatening legal action against any school that prevents Turning Point USA chapters, calling any resistance discrimination. So now we have the governor, education commissioner, and attorney general all threatening schools with legal consequences. This is coordinated state coercion. Let's be clear about who Florida just partnered with. Turning Point USA isn't an educational nonprofit. It's a political influence operation founded by Charlie Kirk, the right-wing commentator who was assassinated in September. And it's now being turned into a he's turned into a MAGA martyr. But for his death, Kirk called for Joe Biden to be imprisoned or executed for crimes against America. He maintained a professor watch list, an actual enemies list to track and target educators. And he made serious threats calling for anti-LGBTQ statements, falsely claiming that too many mass shooters were transgender. This is who Ron DeSantis wants in every Florida public high school. This is not an option from Ron DeSantis. He's saying this is a mandate. And Turning Point USA isn't just a club. It's a political recruitment operation with billionaire funding designed to indoctrinate young people into the MAGA movement. They're building a pipeline to capture kids now, create loyal MAGA voters for decades. These students will grow up thinking government-mandated political loyalty is normal. In 10 to 20 years, these indoctrinated youths will be voting, running for office, teaching the next generation. Many of them in high school are already eligible to vote. And here's the thing, Turning Point is already something that has about 100 chapters across Florida. They're doing fine. They don't need government intervention. So what's this really about? DeSantis claims he's protecting students from discrimination when trying to start Turning Point chapters. But here's the problem. There is zero evidence that this discrimination exists. USA Today investigated. They asked the governor's office to provide some examples for these very big claims. They asked the attorney general. No one could provide any evidence. The closest thing that they found, one misunderstanding at a high school where a student couldn't find a teacher sponsor, which was quickly resolved. That's it. That's the crisis. Meanwhile, student groups that actually face discrimination in Florida, queer organizations, diversity clubs representing different groups, the very groups DeSantis has spent years trying to ban, silence, and target. So DeSantis is now using government power to force schools to platform conservatives while simultaneously censoring everyone else. Here's something wild. No one can actually explain what this partnership means. Turning Point didn't respond to any questions either. The governor's press secretary said more information will be released, which is, government speak for we're making this up as we go. And we know this is true. DeSantis is renaming Florida's debate championship over Charlie Kirk and awarding $50,000 to the winner of the Ronald Reagan presidential debate, a state academic competition renamed after a political partisan influencer who kept an enemies list full of educators. But this is vague intentionally. This is deliberately ambiguous, so DeSantis can expand on it however he wants as he goes. Today, it's about chapters. Tomorrow, perhaps it's mandatory curriculum, mandatory political training. The door is wide open. This is not an isolated incident. This is part of a systematic takeover of Florida education. In 22 and 23, DeSantis signed the Don't Say Gay law restricting queer discussions. He banned AP African American Studies. He published curriculum that whitewashed slavery, teaching people that enslaved people were developing skills. In 2023 and in 2024, Florida partnered with PragerU, a far right works too, propaganda platform, making it approved school content. DeSantis installed activists at New College, a liberal arts university just like the one I went to purge progressive faculty and ban books on gender and sexuality. He restricted social media for minors. Do we see a pattern here? Florida bans books. Other states follow. Florida partners with PragerU, a radical extremist organization. Other states are going to follow. Florida forces Turning Point chapters. Other states are going to follow too. Each authoritarian move normalizes the next. This is the domino effect. It's happening in real time. And by the time it reaches your state, the fight will be so much harder. And now in 2025, he's announced a government partnership with Turning Point USA, and he's threatening schools with legal action for not promoting it. He's renaming state competitions after conservative activists, and he's planning to erect a Charlie Kirk statue at New College. Do we see what's happening here? DeSantis isn't defending free speech. He's weaponizing the state to turn schools into MAGA recruitment centers. And he's using a dead man as its political cover. Here's what makes this truly Orwellian. DeSantis keeps talking about civil discourse and respectful debates and banning books about racism and queer identity and restricting what teachers can say about real history and targeting professors who challenge research questions about conservative ideology. And he's threatening schools that won't promote his preferred radical organization of choice. Civil discourse is code for ideological conformity. It's doublespeak. He's using freedom language. He's weaponizing freedom language to justify what is literally authoritarian control. When the states control what students learn and which political groups they may be forced to join, you don't get education. You get propaganda. You're creating a population that doesn't question authority. You're killing dissent before it even starts. And in 20 years, those indoctrinated students will be the majority of the voters deciding your rights, your future, your healthcare. And get this, Kirk and DeSantis weren't even allies. Kirk endorsed Trump and discouraged DeSantis from running for president. A race DeSantis lost pretty badly. And you know what? Now that Kirk is dead, DeSantis is exploiting his assassination to push his own political agendas into schools, using martyrdom as a moral cover for straight up government coercion. A state government announced a partnership with a partisan political for-profit group. The government threatens schools with full force of the law if they don't comply. The crisis that they're using to justify all this doesn't exist. Students are facing real discrimination and they're being ignored or targeted altogether. This is part of a greater systemic effort to turn schools into conservative pipelines. And they're using a dead activist as a political cover. Ron DeSantis doesn't even want Turning Point in every school because students are asking for it. He wants it because he's building a system where the state controls what students learn, what they read, what they discuss, and which political organizations they're exposed to. This is about power, this is about control, and it's about using children as pawns. And here's the most terrifying part. This is the blueprint. If DeSantis succeeds in Florida, if he can force schools to promote partisan organizations, threaten educators into compliance, and face no resistance, every Republican governor will comply. We know Greg Abbott's taking notes. It'll spread state by state, district by district, until public education means state-approved political training. Florida is the testing ground, and they're betting you won't fight back. And before I go, I want to be real with you for a second. If you've enjoyed this, a reminder that I'm a one-woman team. I write, script, research, clip, everything myself. Everything you see here is all me, and I don't take corporate dollars. I don't take network money. I can't grow without your support. And we need more voices here on the left to combat all this right-wing media machine craziness, all the Turning Point USAs, and all the really well-funded propaganda operations out there. So if you want support, work like this, you want to help us all fight back, subscribe, share this video with a friend, and let me know in the comments what you want to see more of next, because this is how we build a movement that can actually push back against these shenanigans. This isn't just a Florida problem. Every state needs to take this as a serious warning and read banned books.